So here it is. And they basically talk about the exploit from BonkDAO that happened on February 1st. I mean, let's face it, guys, this is exactly 7 days since this happened. This article, of course, outlines the token distribution scheme for ALBT. So anyway, we're going to get right into that. Here's the distribution plan. Let's start off with the holders and stakers. If you're wondering about this, it says they will receive the same amount of ALBT tokens they had before the incident. That's good. That's really good to hear that. The new token will be only distributed after the full audit currently in progress of the new token. So just because this is out, depending on which exchange you're at, you have this on someone like myself, KuCoin, you might have yours on Uphold and some of these other ones. We're going to have to wait. So I'm not stating that, there's going to be one specific, exchange that's going to have theirs before the others. If they do release the information, we'll definitely, provide it to you. If you're wondering about node allocation will not be part of the token distribution. This was kind of key in a way. So it says reducing the total supply of the new tokens to 850 million. The hacker's address will be omitted from the distribution scheme. That's good in itself, right? Don't want to make things any more worse than they have to be. The ALBT founders, listen to this, have decided to dedicate a significant amount of their own team token allocation. Listen to this, up to 15 million for users that held ALBT in troves on BonkDAO and reasonably distributed the new tokens to people who have traded for some time after the incident. So it's not like, they're like, hey, screw you, BonkDAO, and for the people who are on there affected and so on. That's kind of nice that they're doing that. They could have chose not to do this, and I think they still would have been fine. But this, to me, got to give kudos. You got to give credit where credit's due. That was really cool of them to do that. There's key definitions here. It says below are the definitions for some of the terms used in explaining the token distribution. So here we go. You should know about the snapshot, basically. But just in case you don't understand what snapshot is, I like how they broke this down in layman's terms, if you will. So it says a snapshot is a record that captures all balances of wallet addresses and contracts on the blockchain at a specific moment. This includes balances in hardware and software wallets on exchanges. Long story short, if you're new to this, right, let's say you're completely new to crypto and you just came into ALBT for whatever reason because you're like ALBT to the moon, right? So, it's like let's say you came in at, I don't know, 0.06 cents or something. And basically you had it all like on KuCoin, like myself and whatnot. Well, if you didn't do anything with it, right, didn't move it anywhere, just didn't do anything, basically, the snapshot is the value of that particular coin. So if, let's say it went up to 11 cents or wherever the case be, before this particular, what they call snapshot, you get the value of whatever it was. So if you came in at 6 cents and went up to 11 cents, just as an example, and before that hack, it was at 11 cents, that's the value of your ALBT. It's not based off of the value that you originally came into. So I just want to give you guys that particular example. The token distribution. Token distribution is the method through which a new token will be created and sent or made claimable to eligible users depending on their wallet activity in between the snapshots. Most of us know this. Some of you guys who are maybe new to this might not. All right, let's talk about this for just a brief moment. It says stakeholders and eligibility, right? Before we dive into the scheme details, we must be noted that the activities of our stakeholders, right, token holders, stakeholders, liquidity providers, and so on, specifically on centralized exchanges and traders, are to a large extent beyond our control. Listen to this. Nevertheless, we understand the complexity of the situation. So just to kind of give you the quick gist, I mean, they have their particular policy on what they're going to do with this, but they're also stating that, let's face it, some exchanges might reserve the right to have a particular different type of policy that might be even more beneficial to people who went with that particular exchange. So for me on, KuCoin, I have all my ALBT, in my main account. Maybe some of these other particular exchanges and so on have different policies But whatever the case be, some may be a better policy, some might not. Like it mentioned, nevertheless, we understand the complexity of the situation. That's why we consider those stakeholders' interests when designing the new token distribution scheme. Based on discussions with the response team, the following stakeholders and their eligibility have been identified. And here is one of the main things we need to look at. So holders. Holders are users who have held the legacy ALBT tokens. If you don't know what legacy means, it just means the old token contract, right? Just the classic ALBT. Will the new ones have a new name? I don't know that, but whatever the case be, we're going to be airdropped the new particular V2. It might not be, state it's an ALBT V2. It might have a different symbol. We'll have to wait and see what that is called. They might have an outline on that. I did read most of this, but on that particular part, maybe I missed that. So it says, in regards to the legacy ALBT tokens in your hardware, listen to this, guys, hardware or software wallets throughout the incident, and never trade ALBT tokens during or after the incident until 24 hours after the Twitter announcement. Holders are eligible to receive 100% of their tokens. So all the FUD, hopefully that's squashed in regards to those who are, thinking that they're screwed. If you're wondering about the liquidity providers are users, like it says, with positions and liquidity pools with ALBT and our BNB pool, AVAX pool, Matic, Energy Web, and other pools that are on ETH, right? Liquidity providers will receive 100% of the ALBT side of their positions at the time of the snapshot. So again, kind of like similar to like myself, who's holding on a centralized exchange, KuCoin and so on. It's all about that snapshot. So if you're thinking you're, SOL because you provided liquidity to some of these particular platforms, that is not the case. You should be fine. Stakers. Let's talk about stakers real quick. So it says, we know understand some of the definitions for the most part of staker. Let's face it. But users in staking pools will receive 100% of the amount of ALBT staked and the rewards through, although still locked for the remainder of the staking campaign. Users have staked in funders will continue staking with the same amount of ALBT they already have still locked if applicable, and with the same RALBT balances. Users who participated in ALBT's liquidity mining campaigns will receive the ALBT side of their positions at the time of the snapshot. So again, everything is based on just that, the time of the snapshot and so on, what value you had, no matter if you were in a liquidity pool, no matter if you were staking, where it's on just, a person holding on a centralized exchange, whatever the case be. I think they've been pretty consistent about your value of your ALBT. It's just that it's whatever that value was before the actual snapshot, or right at the moment of the snapshot, I should say. There's a special distribution scheme for this group explained in the snapshot section. I need to mention that. I didn't mean to skip over that. So buyers are users who bought ALBT tokens on decentralized exchanges up to 24 hours after the Twitter announcement of the instance. So let's say all those people, they're like trying to swing trade this back and forth, like on Uniswap or something like that. Listen to this. There's a special distribution scheme for this group explained in the snapshot section. Go to this particular one on the Alliance Block Twitter page. And if anything, if this applies to you, go to the specific section and see how this distribution scheme will affect the likes of you and so on. Because there are a few of you. There's even people yesterday, right, when this thing was up like over 100%, who were trying to find, decentralized exchanges and trying to, I guess you could say, swap it back and forth and so on. I would read up a little bit more in regards to that. I don't have the particular answers for that because I wasn't doing that. But they do have something for you in regards to that. If this is you, maybe it's Mike Cornwell, I don't know. But I would look more into that. Sellers, right? So it says there's a special distribution scheme for this group as well. Again, same area, the snapshot section. So let me see here. There's a special distribution for this group of the traders, same thing. So traders, sellers, buyers refer to that same section. There's another thing I want to point out. Hold on a second. Yeah, so people like myself on centralized exchanges, the new tokens will be distributed to centralized exchange according to the information provided to ALBT. Please wait for an official announcement, form your CX, and follow their instructions carefully. Now, I want to say this. If you have your ALBT on the likes of KuCoin, for instance, I use the web-based version for trading. I use even the app, right? But I also have KuCoin set up to send me notifications on anything. They're very, very good about sending you notifications on what's going on. As soon as the whole thing happened with ALBT being like the most traded token because of the hack, I get a notification immediately. I knew about this like literally as it was happening. So I'm telling you flat out, KuCoin is, if you happen to have your ALBT on KuCoin, select to get the notification from KuCoin. They don't really spam you to the point where it's just annoying. They just basically spam you with good info, like Luna Classic is up 50%, or just anything and everything that really, really stands out. But nonetheless, if you want Twitter to be your source, you can do that as well. But I'm just stating flat out, I wouldn't be surprised if I get a notification within the next few days in regards to, hey, here's your airdrop about ALBT. All right, so let's get into this. So here's the thing about the snapshot. It says the snapshot was taken on February 1st, 7 days ago at 11:04 p.m. CET, when withdrawals and deposits were halted on basically all centralized exchanges for the most part. Centralized exchanges will have their tokens, or I should say have their own token distribution scheme. Right. For instance, it's not going to be like all the same time per one. So uphold could be different. And Alliance Block will distribute tokens based on on-chain data. People that held 100% or had tokens in the Alliance Block smart contract will receive 100% of their tokens. That's cool. People who traded before the snapshot will get their tokens distributed in their wallets at the time of the snapshot. Again, I can't reiterate that enough. They've been pretty clear about this. But again, there it is. People who trade between snapshots and up to 24 hours after the Twitter announcement will fall under the compensation scheme. Listen to this. With a fall-off function. Wondering about that? Here's the definition. Buyers receive a part of their purchase. Like A, buyers will receive part of their purchase, and B, sellers will receive a percentage of what they sold. So if you're wondering about that, there it is. People who had a mix of trades between the snapshot and 24 hours after the announcement will get compensated based off of the price on Uniswap. Now, I want to put focus on this for a bit because this is something that Mike Cornwell brought up quite a bit of time. What if you're that trucker who has the buy and sell alerts? Like maybe you have a bot or whatever. You don't know what the heck is going on. Maybe you don't have the KuCoin automated announcement spam type mechanism on your phone or whatever, right? What about these guys? Like the guy who, basically has buy and sell, you could be 40,000, 100,000. What about these particular people? So people had a mix of trades between snapshot and 24 hours after the announcement will get compensated based on the price on Uniswap, which was 0.03 at the moment of the snapshot. As a reminder, the snapshot is taken at 23:04 CET, a few hours after the incident took place. That's a typo. Using the same aforementioned fall off function. I know it sounds a little bit vague. I would double check that, especially if you happen to have noticed what the price was on Uniswap. If you're wondering how to particularly do that, I would probably go to CoinGecko for that reference. I wouldn't do CMC if it was me. And I wouldn't even do KuCoin because that's centralized exchange. Try to, maybe use another source instead of CoinGecko. Maybe go to, I know it sounds weird, but go to for instance, KuCoin. You go Dex Tools. Try to line it up. If this is affecting you, use 3 different charts, if you will, and it should give you a pretty good idea of what it originally was. But that's what they're basing off of Uniswap. It's important to note the centralized exchanges where ALBT is officially listed were promptly noted of the incident. Pausing or stopping trades is subject to centralized exchanges, internal procedures, and decision making. And this is a key area we'll take a moment to reflect on, and reason why this is important. So even though ALBT has their policy on how they want to blanket all this, centralized exchanges, like it mentions, are subject to their own specific policy. So You might have some centralized exchanges. You're like, oh, okay, that's a pretty cool policy. Thanks for that. You might also notice ones like, you know what, pardon my French, that was kind of a dick move. You know what I mean? So I just want to throw that out there. Any actions related to trading activity on centralized exchanges were fully beyond their control. They have also paused all activity on Alliance Block Bridge to prevent the access of liquidity on other networks. And that was key. That was basically why this hacker wasn't able to get away with what was $112 million, right? Everyone's like, oh God, this guy's got access to over half, 50 to 60% liquidity. As we basically covered this, shout out to Mike Cornwell as well. You know, basically it was like about 5%. At the very most 10%. And if anything, when you receive your particular airdrop, I think it's going to be representative of not only the snapshot, but let's say, you know, you get your V2, it's going to be probably about 10% less compared to what you see, for instance, up here with the, you know, 0.03. So anywhere from a 5 to 10 cent, or 5 to 10% range. And then from there, you got to realize that this could tank. But another thing that a lot of people don't realize is it could very well blast off, because right now there's a lot of eyeballs on this particular project. So I want to state this: it could go either way. There's a lot of people rooting for this to go to penny. If it goes to penny, like I mentioned yesterday, I'm back the freaking dump truck up, rent it from the city of Phoenix, and back this sucker up. Because I mean, if this is the second chance at this, I'm only giving it a second chance. But for those prices, I mean, that risk to reward ratio is really, really realistic. All right, there's a little bit more here. Again, go to their Medium if you want to know a little bit more about, you know, buyers on decentralized exchanges, sellers on decentralized exchanges. Just I know that majority of you guys were basically, you know, trying to buy off of here, and then some of you guys would immediately put it to your, you know, your cold storage, wherever the case be. There's following steps that you can go do. So here's the thing. It says, excuse me, from them. Sorry. It says the response team is working hard on preparing an on-chain token distribution. Talking too much today, reading too much. Token distribution process. In the next few days, you can expect a follow-up blog introducing the new token with timelines. Of course, we'll bring it to you guys. They want you to be vigilant on the scams. This is key. I mean, I know most of you guys know this stuff. Here's the thing. If you're new to Twitter, you're not going to get somebody from the team, you know, send you a DM. It says PM. I mean, I used to call it PMs too, like private message. They're not going to do that. So somebody's messaging you like, hey, you know, I have your airdrop info. That's scammy stuff. Do not listen to that. All right. I've had this happen to me before. It's BS. Do not listen to that. Wait for the actual official updates from the Alliance Block team. That's very, very crucial. All right. But anyway, that is the update. I know that took a while, but I just wanted to cover pretty much most of that. I know it was a lot of it verbatim, but there it is.
Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you have not yet subscribed, do yourself a favor and subscribe for more information on the ISO 222 compliant tokens, and hit the notification bell to make sure that you are aware of the new videos when they come up. Max and I cover these ISOs, and we also have a live show every single night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you tune in for that. You won't want to miss it. Thanks again, and we will see you on the next video.